everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Eating by the Book. So today's episode is once again inspired by the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. This is a surprise to nobody, but there is one food in this series that is very important that I have not yet made. Can anybody think of what it is? It's bread. How could I be making foods inspired by the Hunger Games and not make bread? Peter Millark, boy with the bread, saved Katniss with bread, works in a bakery making bread. Bread is important in this series. It is used a lot of times by characters and stuff. Bread is important. So I figured I would make life incredibly hard for myself and make a very complicated sounding bread. So as with all of the Hunger Games episodes I do, this will be following a recipe from the unofficial Hunger Games cookbook by Emily and Sarah Baines. I will leave the Goodreads link to this book in the description below. It is unfortunately out of print, but I do believe you can get ebook copies still, and you might be able to hunt down a secondhand one. But the recipe I will be following is called French bread from the Millark family bakery, and it sounds hard. To start with, it recommends using a stand mixer with a dough hook attachment, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna mix it by hand. So I woke up this morning and chose chaos. This recipe makes 2 loaves of bread, so I'll have a lot of bread. So without further ado, we're gonna get started because this is what everybody actually is here for. No one wants to hear me ramble. They want to see me make bread. So I'm going to be using a big bowl and a wooden spoon. I apologize if you can hear my cat eating. He is being incredibly loud right now. This recipe does require in total 5.5 cups of flour, but it doesn't want it all at once. It wants it incrementally at different stages. So in this bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of flour, 1 package of active dry yeast. I'm actually using instant dry yeast. I don't know what the difference is. There probably is one, but it's too late for that. 2 tablespoons of softened butter. Come on. I didn't think bread usually had butter in it, but I mean, I guess I could be wrong. And 3 teaspoons of salt. And we want to combine this. I'm not sure how combining 2 tablespoons of butter into this much flour is going to work. It does smell kind of just like yeast. At what point does bread stop smelling like yeast and start smelling like bread? You know, because everybody loves the smell of baking bread, but everybody hates the smell of yeast. So when does the change happen? Okay, then I want to stir in 2 cups of warm water. Turns out these bowls hold 2 cups, so this is very full. So that's the smell of yeast. Oh, that is the smell of yeast. Oh god. It's bubbling. That's so weird. I know that's the yeast, but it is just very odd. So I want to beat until well blended by hand because I chose chaos. How do I know when it's well blended? Like, what does that look like? I'm gonna call it good enough. Using a wooden spoon, stir in as much of the remaining flour as you can. What was the stand mixer for? Because that wasn't hard if I already done this wrong. So I'm gonna take the next 2 cups and just start pouring it in. I'm not going to pour in the entire 2 cups. I'm just going to pour a bit, mix it in, pour a bit, mix it in, until I can't no more. This is going to make a lot of dough. That makes 4 cups total. Oh, she's sticky. She's sticky. This is the last 1.5 cups of flour. I don't think I'll be able to stir in all of it, but maybe I will. Who knows? But dough on me. Alright, I don't think I can stir in anymore. I have this much flour left. Don't worry, it's still going in the bread. It's just not being stirred in anymore. So the next step is to turn this out onto a floured surface, kneading in enough flour to make a stiff dough that is also smooth and elastic. Knead for 8 to 10 minutes total. Flour, flour, flour. Right. So, if you're wondering, this is the bowl with the rest of my flour. This is my recipe book. This is the part that's going to be awful. And so we're going to knead in enough flour. Okay, so we're gonna... I'm very much still of the opinion that I don't know how to knead things. What really is kneading? So that's the last of my 5.5 cups of flour, and we're just gonna keep kneading, try and make this a cohesive seed until smooth and elastic. I always get scared when I do these videos that I'm gonna do something awfully wrong and have people who know what they're doing commenting and telling me, oh, you shouldn't have done that, you did it wrong, you're an idiot. Where in reality, I feel like anyone who's gonna tell me anything I've done wrong is probably gonna be a little bit nicer about it. I need more flour. Everything just started getting real sticky. I've only been going for 5 minutes. My floured surface wasn't so floury, so I added more flour. I do think we're almost done. This is why bakers have really strong arms. Right, so it's actually been 8 minutes now, and I'm gonna stop because I don't think I can really get it any better than this. The next step is to shape it into a ball, which it kind of already is. So then what we want to do with our ball of dough is place into a greased bowl. Well, hang on. Greased with what? I don't know. I'm gonna use olive oil. Probably regret my choice, but I don't know what else you would use. Actually, probably butter, now that I'm thinking about it, but it's too late. We've got olive oil in this bowl already. But yeah, I probably should have used butter. Oh well, can't change the past. You can only work on the future. So, I'm gonna put our ball and turn over to thoroughly coat it in our probably should be butter olive oil. And then we want to cover and let rise in a warm place until doubled, about 1 hour. I keep doing this to myself. I don't really have any places that are particularly warm in this house, but I will cover it and leave it here, I suppose. Alright, so I'll leave this for an hour and then we'll come back. I'm a little concerned. If it doubles, it's not going to fit in this bowl. It's fine. It's totally fine. I don't know how we got on the wrong angle, but we did. So it has been an hour. Right, so it has risen. I don't know if I'd say it's doubled though. What am I supposed to do? Punch dough down and divide in half. It made a sound. Ew, that's weird. Okay, divide in half and then place back on lightly flat surface. Okay, cover and let rise for 15 minutes. Alright, I guess we'll be back in 15 minutes. So it's been 15 minutes. These are my 2 bread babies. So, what do I want to do? Roll each half into a large rectangle, then roll up, starting from the long side. Oh, okay, so they want me to use rolling pin. So roll each half into a long rectangle and then roll those up. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. How large is a large rectangle? Roll up starting from the long side. I'm rolling this way. So like this way? This is where it's really gonna show that I don't know how to make bread. I think this is what I want to be doing. Moisten the edge with water and seal. Am I making like a baguette? Is that what's happening right now? You know what? That might be what's happening right now. I think that's what's happening. So moisten the edge with water. And seal. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that it's a baguette, but I kind of am. And then it says taper the ends, which I don't really know what that means, so I'm just gonna squoosh them. You know, if I had the visual of knowing I was making something like a baguette, this would have been a lot easier. Okay, so we've got one beautiful bread log. So let's just quickly do the other. So the next step is to preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which according to Google is about 190 degrees Celsius. I don't think I'll ever understand why my family stores trays in the oven. Grease a large baking sheet. So I don't really want to have anything touch this tray. So I have got some baking paper on here first, which maybe renders this pointless, I don't know. So I'm just gonna rub some butter on here. That is very buttery. And sprinkle with cornmeal. So this recipe does call for 1 tablespoon of cornmeal, which I suppose I'm supposed to sprinkle over this. Oh, this stuff has a weird texture. Okay. Place loaves seam side down on the baking sheet. Both of them? Alright. Seam side down. Oh, she's too long. Maybe they weren't supposed to be like a baguette. I don't know. So we're just gonna do 2 trays. In a small bowl, lightly beat together 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water. Brush about half of the mixture over the loaves. With a sharp knife, make 4 shallow diagonal cuts across the top of each loaf. Cover with a damp cloth. Okay, let rise until nearly doubled, about 45 minutes. God, there's a lot of leaving things to rise in this recipe. I'll be back in 45 minutes. I'm just too impatient. Okay, so look at, there's my bread, living her best life. Bake for 20 minutes. All right, well, before I do that, there's like a tip in here saying that while not necessary to truly make French bread, throw a couple of handfuls of ice cubes in a pan at the bottom of your oven a few seconds before putting in the bread. So, a roasting dish, because I ran out of pans, and ice. Should I get some more? Apparently the steam that this lets off as the bread is baking gives it a really crunchy, crisp crust and a really moist inside. So we're gonna see how that goes. Alright, so it's in for 20 minutes. Jeez, it has taken so long to get to this point. I started filming, what, at like 1? It's 4:19. I'm really hoping I manage to finish filming before my dad gets home. So I have to bake it for 20 minutes, then take it back out of the oven and put some more of my egg wash over it and bake it for another 20 minutes. So I guess I'll be back then. Alright. So I need to put more of the egg wash on. Oh god, steamy. I can't show you me doing this very well, so I'm not moving the camera. This smells delicious and I want to eat it. Back in the oven. So that's going to stay in the oven for another 20 minutes. At the 15-minute mark, I'm going to come back because we have to make, I guess like a glaze that gets poured over it. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Hello, I've actually got like 8-9 minutes steamy left in there, but I think they need to come out soon, so I'm going to do this next step a little earlier. So I need to mix, what am I mixing? 2 tablespoons of butter with 1 tablespoon of honey. The butter has to be melted. I feel like I should have pointed that out earlier. Okay, so I'm gonna remove my bread from the oven because she's nice and browned. Oh, she's hot. She's very hot. Hot, bad choice, bad choice. So now what I want to do is pour this mixture over the bread. Then I want to lightly place a sheet of aluminum foil over each loaf. Place a damp towel over the loaf. Let sit for 15 minutes. Oh my god. I guess I'll be back in another 15 minutes. I just want to eat this bread. I'm so hungry. I have a minute and 22 seconds, no, a minute and 18 seconds until I can eat this bread. I'm not supposed to eat it yet. I'm supposed to remove this damp towel and the tin foil and set it on a cooling rack for however long it takes to cool completely. But who actually waits for bread to cool completely when you make it at home and eat it? Wouldn't you want warm bread? I feel like you would want warm bread. So I'm also impatient because it is now 5:12 p.m. and I woke up, this is a bit embarrassing, but I woke up at 11:30 in the morning and all I did was get dressed and start filming this. I haven't done anything. I haven't eaten anything. Honestly, it's a miracle I haven't just engulfed this. Looking at my timer because I'm hungry. 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. I am gonna put them on a wire rack though, because I do want them to cool properly without getting like soggy bottom crusts. I have my bread knife, which I probably shouldn't wave around like that. Goodbye, damp tea towel. Bread. They look so good. Oh my god. Okay. This one definitely looks the best. I will use that one as my photo model, but let's cut this. This is when we find out I didn't cook it properly or something stupid like that. Okay. Ooh. Oh my god. That honey butter glaze is so good. So it's quite a dense bread. I don't know if you can see that. It's quite a dense looking bread. I want to put butter on it, but it's very dense. I think I over kneaded it. This glaze is amazing. because it's just honey and butter. Okay, I need to stop eating. Alright, well this is what it looks like. This turned out really well. Considering I made this completely from scratch, I didn't use a stand mixer, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I think this has worked very well. Sorry, it tastes good after eating it. Maybe I'm biased because I haven't eaten all day, but I do think this tastes pretty good. They're kind of a rustic looking bread loaf because it's like a little bit more cooked in some areas than others, and it's not exactly symmetrically shaped or anything. The underside is kind of ugly because that's where all the cornmeal was, which I don't really understand why it needed to cook on cornmeal. Corn flour, sorry, but it did. Now I'm gonna eat too much bread. But yeah, this sliced with some butter is gonna be absolutely delicious. Was it worth the like 5 hours? Well, I probably spent closer to 4 hours making. Yeah, I don't think I'll do it again, but it's nice. Oh, I got bread in my hair now. Cool. Well, that's the final product. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'm very proud of it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really have any faith in myself. I didn't think I was going to be able to make bread from scratch. I thought it was going to be awful and taste like yeast, but that didn't happen. The crust is nice and crunchy and the inside is quite soft and moist. I don't know how much of that is from putting the ice in the oven though. Alright, I'm gonna stop eating this bread. So that was this recipe. It is done, it is made, it is partially eaten. If you had any comments on my absolutely abysmal baking skills, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. I post every single week, and every month there is a new Eating by the Book episode, so there's actually quite a few up already if you wanted to check those out. Each episode is me following a recipe inspired by or based on a food that I've come across in books. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I had a good time making it. I'm definitely having a good time eating it, and I hope I'll see you next week in a new video. Bye. Don't judge me.